Hello.
Hello.
We are here to review Monkey Man, that is now out in theaters in India. Directed, written, acted in by Dev Patel and several other things. Um,
Yeah, I
what is
mean
it about?
it's your John Wick-esque revenge action thriller. It basically follows Dev Patel's journey on as he tries to, get even or revenge on the people that I don't know, wronged him in the past, and take it basically just takes you through that whole journey.
Yeah, and a very interesting cast as well. Sharto Kopli, in a nice role. Pitabash, Vipin Sharma was in a fascinating role, and Sikandar Kher, Ashwini Kalsekar play extremely nice villains. Subita Dhulipala is outstanding as always. Makaran Deshpande again outstanding, and a lovely cameo by Zakir Hussain. I think
Yes.
also Aditi Kalkunte, who I hadn't seen before, plays the mom. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the
2 hour long, by the way.
2 hour
So
long.
they
Yeah.
kept it tight.
Good, yeah.
And the other thing that had fascinated me, especially with the trailer, was that it's produced by Jordan
Jordan
Peele.
Peele.
So Jordan Peele for me meant wow, this
Yeah.
is going to be something.
It's gonna have that wow
And
factor.
the trailer did have that wow factor. So
100%.
yeah.
I think the issues for that movie for me begin straight away with the trailer because I feel like all the memorable sequences were basically all that they showed in the trailer, in my opinion. There was, a great humor moment, and that was probably one of the only good humor moments in the movie. I think one of the best action sequences was also something that they had in the trailer. And so for me, it was like one of those movies where the trailer got my hype up to here, but then the movie only like lived up to that. Kind of similar to what I went through with the Batman, with the yeah,
The latest
the
one.
latest one.
Pattinson.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have been bursting to talk about this movie actually. I was like, I think as a directorial debut, and especially when he's the one who's been leading in it. I mean, he wrote. I've seen so much behind the scenes of what has happened. They had to go through COVID. There were like 20 hurdles thrown at them. There are several scenes in the movie that are shot with a GoPro or an iPhone, and it's. But the thing is, like, I am so impressed by how Dev Patel did this. He went in with such a clear and stylistic vision of what he wanted, and he executed it so brilliantly, in my opinion. I loved the story. I thought Jordan Peele always brings in those interesting story beats. I mean, the tone is always like a little bit. It just incredible. Camera work was so interesting. The frames that they had, the fighting sequences, choreography was beautiful. Soundtrack was really good as well. I mean, climactic moments. There's one specifically that like I thought was stunning. I'm so impressed and so inspired by it, and like all throughout I just kept feeling like doing this to him because I'm just so proud. Like I loved it. I really did.
I'm going to do a twist here. At the count of three, 1, 2, 3, we will all hold up our ratings. Okay, and then we'll talk a little further. 1, 2, 3. 6, 9. 9. So I think that's where the kind of issues lie, because for me as well, it got too dark, and I wish you had lightened it up with some sense of humor. I thought also the Indian angle, rather than being the whole slumdog millionaire kind of a thing, had been something else. Point two. Point three, I wish there was some kind of a twist at the end. I for me, these were the three things that kind of let the movie down and could so easily have made it completely a different beast in that sense. I love the whole Indian Hanuman and the god angle, etc.
Some of the dialogue was also.
I
And the
love the whole
mythology was so
sequences.
beautifully
There's certain sequences set in a temple, which for me were
Yes.
outstanding.
Outstanding.
I thought
The roots and everything.
yeah, that whole thing, and Zakir Hussain was just delightful.
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah.
Now, just apart from that, it needed that little extra buzz, fizz, or whatever else you'd like to call it, and that's
think-
why it's like 6 and not a 9 like
the,
Undercuts.
the interesting thing was, I think right after that movie, Dad and I watched a similar like action kind of movie called Polar or something like that.
Oh yeah. Huh.
And I think the interesting thing is with Monkey Man, as soon as you kind of get the gist and you watch like the first 20 minutes, you have a clear idea of what's going to happen in the end. like that's the only logical conclusion to that
Yeah.
movie, unless like Dad said there's a twist. And I think that's something that even in like Polar did really well. And even if you like compare it to a movie like a John
John
Wick,
Wick, yeah.
there's just something about the way that they do it that makes you laugh at certain points, and like you're kind of engrossed and everything. And I understand that the movie did really good job with some of the stylistic elements.
Mhm.
I thought there was one amazing sequence with amazing music where there's a guy who's gotten this object and he needs to get it to Dev Patel's character, and it kind of they track the journey of it through the slums. I thought that sequence was amazing. The music, like I was like
Yeah.
hyped, but then it's like you only have that twice. I only felt that twice in the movie, and then you're like, I'm feeling a little underwhelmed.
So for me, quick rebuttal in the sense, it's like I feel Dev Patel had something to say with this movie, and I think that's where that dark-sided element came in, where it had a lot of conversation and drew connections between people who are oppressed in Indian society right now, current events. When you apply those, I feel like it becomes very relevant, and that's where I could tell he had something to say, and by God, he said it. And there's like this incredible sequence. I mean, the way that the Hijra community was depicted, I thought it was a really beautiful love letter in a sense from a man who's also not really lived in India, but there was so much respect and so much enthusiasm that came through climaxes. There were some stunning moments. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought they did a very good job and very relevant.
Well, we didn't feel like moving for 2 hours, is the only thing I would say to be fair to the movie.
Mm.
We kept waiting for something to happen. For some, it happened, and for others, it didn't. And we would love to know what you think, right? So, thanks so much, and let us know how you found the movie.
Bye-bye.